Hello, this is Ed Hamler here with LaRouche Pack TV. I have on the line Diane Sayer of the National Slate, and there was an intervention that was just conducted by her campaign in Harlem this week. President Obama happened to be in Harlem at the Apollo Theater, and Diane, we certainly greeted him, didn't we?
Yes. Yeah, this was extremely effective, and I'll just say in preface, I mean, most of the American people have noticed that there is no one running for president. And by that I mean Obama is a Hitler-Nero clone, and then the pack of Republican candidates really are a total disaster. I mean, Mitt Romney would be somewhat identical to Obama, and then everyone else is like, I don't know, zero. They're just zeros or worse. So this is something that clearly has people very upset, and in contrast, LaRouche has been very insistent that what the LaRouche slate represents is a presidential policy, and leading with the credit system, Glass-Steagall, and then really what mankind's mission is in the universe, which is obviously to get off of this planet. And, think of the immortality of the human species in the galaxy. So that as a backdrop, I mean, what happened, and actually I was surprised, there was a massive protest to Obama, which we ended up leading and being in the center of.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the sidewalk. We got there a couple hours early, and the Apollo Theater is on 125th Street, which for people who know Harlem is the major thoroughfare, and it's right in the middle of the block. And we were able to secure the space directly across from the theater with a very large banner that said, "Stop World War III, Impeach Obama, LaRouchePack.com." This was our banner from our Christmas mobilization. And then we had several 4-foot-tall Obama stash posters, and groups from Occupy Harlem, Occupy Wall Street were trying to find the demonstration, and we were right there. So what happened was the whole thing started forming around our banner.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also very visible to the people across the street who were, they were our intended audience, particularly President Obama, who I was hoping would, have some kind of crazy incident where he started complaining about the mustache in the middle of his fundraiser.
So the response of the people was to recognize that there was a certain kind of leadership on the question of not just protesting Obama, but actually removing him from office?
Yeah, and people were actually we got a lot of interviews. There were a lot of cameras also because we had the singing, and the tiny handful, like 2 or 3 paid Obama agents simply could not stop the power of the singing. That was somewhat hilarious. But, I was interviewed, a couple other people were interviewed, and what I was able to go through is that Obama is in direct violation of the Constitution. We had a war on Libya with no congressional authorization, and now New Year's Eve he signs into law the NDAA, which allows U.S. citizens to be detained indefinitely without trial on U.S. soil, or, of course, extradited to be tortured somewhere else. So this was very clear. The question of impeachment, his immediate removal, that was unique from us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, were there any responses to the presidential concepts that you laid out earlier? Obviously, Obama being at Harlem will be the center of protest, and as we've shown, that the need to impeach him is what the real fight is. But then on the question of the solution concept, what was the response there, and how did you galvanize the population as a leadership function with the positive alternative to Obama?
Well, I mean, the people there obviously, were upset about the NDAA. They're upset about that no one from Wall Street has gone to jail. Not that many people there actually had a very high recognition of Glass-Steagall, for example. But in one of the interviews with a radio station, because they asked, well, what do you think Obama should have done? And I said, well, immediately when he came in, he could have done something like FDR, put the system through bankruptcy, great project, this kind of idea. And people seem to definitely find that surprising, unique. Also, there were a lot of young people. I think the younger people, although many of them had supported Obama, like one young woman who was really furious now, she said, look, I voted for him, and he now wants to lock us up without trial, and now they don't, and there's no one else to vote for. But it was a lot of younger. That was a very interesting aspect of this thing. It was a lot of younger people who've seen through this guy. Mm-hmm. And they're also inclined to be interested in things like, space exploration and things like that.
Right. So that does actually show that there is a unique opportunity right now, but at the same time, as what your intervention showed, that we could lose the opportunity, and if we allow Obama to stay in office.
Yeah, if he remains the candidate and he stays in office, I mean, I don't know what people are going to do. People are just beside themselves with, I would say, fear, frustration, anger over the lack of leadership. And that really is why I think people are so inclined to gravitate to us and to want our material and to back our fight.
Right. Okay, well, I'll just end on this. I've noticed, Diane, that you and the National Slate have been having weekly dialogues with Lyndon LaRouche on these very important policy questions, which, again, gets at what we would do with these young people that are now kind of feel swindled by the entire Obama thing, whatever you want to call it. But there have been these really important discussions. What should we look forward to with these discussions that you and others have been having with Mr. LaRouche on the question of the Mars colonization, Glass-Steagall, the credit system? What should we be actually gearing up for this year?
Well, first of all, I would just say LaRouche this week delivered a State of the Union address, which everyone really should watch. And I think you can then see in contrast, because I guess Obama is doing his next week, what a total ridiculous zero, Nuremberg rally leader he will look like in comparison. And then we are doing another roundtable with LaRouche this Sunday, and there's been work coming out of the basement on the galactic defense. And I really have to say, I think we're just, I wouldn't even say we've scratched the surface. I don't think we can even say that we've done that much. So I think there's an enormous amount to come as we rediscover more of what's known about these galactic questions. And then with the leadership that LaRouche, the basement team, the Slate is providing, I think we create a forum where people doing the most advanced work in these matters can socialize what we're doing, and I would expect even more breakthroughs.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Diane. We'll see you soon.
Okay, thanks.